lightning. And this flies up in a swarm, basically 5 to 6 of them that would go up to altitude. They'd all join in formation and fly with one manned aerial vehicle. And the manned aerial vehicle would have command and control over the 5 or 6 of these little fellas. And then it would carry out its mission. So my job on all of these, most of this stuff was, I was a stress analyst. So in industry, what we have typically, especially as an engineer, is you have design engineers and stress engineers or analyst engineers. What usually happens in design, which I teach in mechanical engineering 3rd and 4th year, is that iteration between design and stress. Yeah. So what happens is a designer would come with their kind of requirements that would create the shape of this aircraft, and then the structures engineer or the analyst would fill in all of the gaps. So typically an aerodynamicist would say, hey, the aircraft must be shaped like this. The loft, what we call the loft of the aircraft, so it's called the loft. And then from the loft, we need to fix the skeleton. So we need to come up with all the internal structure of that aircraft or that product. And we need to show that it's safe so that it can hold its aerodynamic shape and be able to produce or perform to the necessary capabilities that has been asked of it. So with all of these aircraft, I built finite element analysis models, FEA. Now, you guys don't learn about this straight away. I think you might get a taste of it in the next course in MM211 and MM312. Then by the time you get up to me, if you're a mechanical engineer in 324 and 365, we do some detailed stress analysis using some software packages. But the key foundation for all of this, for being able to do this high-level work, is the basic fundamentals of structures of solid mechanics, which you kind of learn here in MM103. Now, MM103 is the foundation course, the first course in many courses. So it's the first course, MM103. You start with that in 2nd semester. Then next year, in 1st semester, you do MM211, which is solid mechanics 1. Then you'll go until 1st semester of 3rd year, and you'll do MM312, which is solid mechanics 2. Then you'll do MM314, which is machine elements. Yeah. Then after that, you do MM324, which is someone's brushing their teeth. Can you please put your microphone on mute? What the heck? What on earth is going on? I thought we were playing that game, like, what's that sound, you know? What's that sound? Yeah, well done, well done.
Brushing.
You do realize we cannot smell your breath on this call, right? So I don't know who you're trying to impress. Yeah, so this is the foundational course. Now, I always like to spend the first hour of my class talking a bit about me, so you know who I am, so you know I'm legit and I'm not mucking around when I'm trying to teach you something. Yeah, I'm talking a lot from experience. I've been exactly where you are. I finished my undergraduate degree in 2001. Yeah, a lot of you were not even born in 2001. Yeah. Okay, so I've been an engineer longer than you've been alive. And then I did my PhD straight after that. So I went straight from my undergrad, 2001. I started my PhD with an industrial scholarship straight away. So and then I worked as a lead engineer for a long time. So I'm not a bad engineer. In actual fact, I'm a good engineer. Some of you might be asking, well, why are you here? What are you doing here? I know when I came back to USB, there were probably some people that asking questions about, oh, who are you and why did you come back? Did you get fired? Like, what's the situation? Well, no, I did not get fired. In actual fact, I could probably go back and get another job with Boeing if I wanted to. This is my home. Fiji is where I'm from. I've always wanted to live in Fiji. I wanted my children to grow up in Fiji. I think we've got a lot to offer, and I can't argue with the lifestyle here in Fiji. I think it's a great place. I've got my family here. So my mum and dad, or my stepmother and my dad, they still live here. I've got a sister, brother-in-law. I've got cousins. I've got a lot of things here that want me to be back in Fiji. What inspired me to teach, Nicole? Well, I think I've got something to offer. Yeah. So I think some of my reasons for being here is out of duty as well. I feel that I've got something that I can teach you, as long as you're willing to learn. And I think it can be a powerful thing that you guys see someone that's been where you are, right? Like I've grown up here in Fiji. I'm from Fiji. And so when you have someone that's been where you are, you can see that, hey, I can reach that too. And I believe that you guys can be excellent engineers as well. You've got to really make the most of the opportunities that are given to you. I really remember one of he's actually the senior most engineer at Boeing in Australia. He just retired maybe about 5 years ago now. And he was giving his farewell speech. And one of the questions that he was giving a Q&A at the end of his farewell speech, and a lot of the young engineers were asking him questions. They said, what do you attribute your success from? And he became the chief engineer at Boeing Australia. And he said, I kept on putting my hand up. He kept on taking every opportunity that came his way. So he started off back when it was the Commonwealth Aircraft Factory in Melbourne. He started off sweeping the floors. Can you imagine that? He started sweeping the floors, and a manager came up to him and said, do you want to go and become a draftsman? You want to go in, and back in those days, they just had the big draft board, and it was about learning how to basically do 3-view drawings, isometric, isoparametric drawings and things like that. So he said, yeah, I'll do that. So he went and became a draftsperson. After that, after he did his draftsman qualification, it would have been a certificate. They said, does anyone want to become an engineer? So he went and said, yeah, I want to become an engineer. So he went through university, did his 4-year degree, became an engineer. After a little while went by, he said, anyone want to do their masters? He went and did his masters. So he kept on taking opportunities. He ended up doing his PhD. And then he climbed the ladder. He started off as a graduate engineer, and he ended up as the chief technical officer at Boeing Australia. But it all started from him sweeping the floors. It started with him doing something very simple. Yeah. So I want to stress a lot that some of you are sitting here and you have no clue how you're going to get to where someone else is. Some of you have goals where you want to become an engineer in Australia, or you want to work in NASA, or you want to work at Boeing, or you want to work at Airbus, or you might want to work as just a general engineer here. And you're thinking so far down the track. Can I get you, all of you, just to focus on something very simple at this stage? How can you do the best job possible at 103? Yeah, great thought there, Sean. Rolls-Royce. Do you know the single most expensive component on any aircraft is the engine system? Yeah, the propulsion system. So, and we purchase all of that. So Pratt & Whitney, Rolls-Royce, LEAP, General Electric, all of those power systems we have to purchase. And the propulsion guys, they work on that. Yeah. So, so if I can get you all at this stage, you guys might be looking right down the track, and you might be thinking, oh man, how do I do that? How do I do that? And you can get very caught up in chasing something that's a long way off. Yeah. And what I mean is, it's not that it's not attainable. It's just that it's not attainable in the sense that if you want it enough, you're going to get it. Right. Just because you think you deserve it, because you've had a hard life, because you've grown up in a tough situation, it doesn't mean you deserve anything. Yeah, I mean, that's the hard reality of it all, guys. It's not that it's deserved, it's earned. Okay, you got to work hard for it. And it starts right here. Starts first of all in MM 103, doing the things that you need to do to make sure you do the best that you can. Now, I'm really happy to be talking to you at this early stage, because again, I'm usually talking to you when you get to third year, second semester in the mechanical engineering program. And I feel like I haven't had a chance to kind of inspire you or tell you straight early on. I don't know whether many of your lecturers actually talk to you about this kind of stuff, but I think it's worthwhile that we spend, you know, just at least 1 hour just kind of having these discussions and letting you know where I stand, what my heart is towards young engineers in Fiji. And so I think that I think for me that's a really important place for us to start. Yeah. You guys have done one semester so far, and in engineering you've done what, MM 101, MA, well, and you got PH 102, CS 111, and maybe MM 111, MA 111. Yeah, so there's a number of these courses that you've done so far. You've done just one core engineering course. Yeah, some of you have done well. I have no doubt. Some of you have got A pluses, some of you got A's, some of you got B pluses, and some of you have got C's. Now, none of you, I hope none of you, have failed MM 101 because I don't think you should be here if you have. But some of you have, you know what you've done so far. Okay, you know what you've done so far. If you've got a C, if you've got a C plus, some of you may be feeling really down on yourself right now. Oh man, I'm hopeless, I'm useless, or I don't know what it is that I've gotten myself into. Some of you are sitting on an A plus already, and you're like, wow, this is too easy. This is too easy. So I'm gonna speak to both sides. I'm gonna speak to both sides of this right now. Okay. The C plus or the C, it doesn't define you, right? It doesn't define you. It might give you a wake up call, but it doesn't have to be your story for the rest of this 4 years. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, you've got the ability to change. Okay. You've got your ability to change. So right now, the effort that you put in, the schedule that you maintained, what you did to earn the C or the C plus. Yeah. So now that's the good thing. You know what you've done to earn that. So now you need to think about, what do I need to do to get the A plus? Sorry? Someone talking to me? No idea. Can you please mute if you don't want to say something? Otherwise, you're more than welcome to say something, but maybe put your hand up. Remember our etiquette that I was talking about yesterday. Raise your hand if you want to say something. Put it down if you don't want to say something. Okay. Yeah, so I want you to take some of this wisdom, okay? And I'm only going to give this wisdom. I might give it again if I get sufficiently annoyed with you that I have to yell at you, okay? Now, I've only got you for 4 weeks, but if you ever get up to me in MM324, I can get pretty upset with students. Yeah, you don't really get me upset in 100 level because you guys are just little tykes, little Padawans, little Star Wars Jedis that I need to help along, But once you get to third year and fourth year, my expectations go right up. Yeah. But at this level, I'm really wanting to encourage you. Yeah. So you know what it takes to get a C, you know what it takes to get a C plus, right? And some of you are absolutely confused. How do I get an A plus? Now, the worst thing that you can do is to do the same thing. This is where you're going to have to come up with a new strategy. And I don't know you well enough. Okay, I don't know what your study habits are. I don't know whether you wake up early. I can see that 214 of you decided to wake up early for this class, and I'm really thankful for that. But I also realize there's 120 or so of you that are not bothered to come to class. Yeah. So I know I'm talking to a lot of good students here, or people that actually want to be here. But to get a C, if you're getting a C right now, or if you're getting a C plus, you know the effort that it took to get the C or C plus. You've earned it. I always say this, whether it's a C or whether it's an A plus, you've earned it either way, okay? But if you want to get that A plus and you're sitting on a C right now, well, you're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to change. And you're like, oh, so how do I change? Well, it means you have to map out everything that you've done previously and then make an intentional effort to do it differently. And this is the best time. Can I give you that advice? When you're in first year university, this is the best time to do it. Okay, this is the best time to do it. Can I give you a bit of experience of my own? So when I left high school, I was a pretty good student. Okay, I'm not tooting my own horn because I was pretty good. To get into aerospace engineering, aeronautical engineering at Sydney University, you needed a score of 99.95 out of 100 to join the aeronautical engineering program at Sydney University. So you're not stupid when you get in there. Okay, you understand? That's like getting, what's your score here? What's your score in Fiji? You have to get, what's it out of? Is it out of 400 or 500? I don't know. But you need to get a good mark, right? 40 out of 40? 400. Yeah, 400. So I would have got something like, what's that? 460 or 390 or something like that, 380, something like that. You would have got a good score, right? Whatever you do to get 99.9 marks, that's what you need to do to get into it. But I'm going to tell you, when I joined Sydney University, I mucked around for like the first 2 years. I didn't take it seriously. I was having fun out on my own. I left home when I was 18 and I started just hanging out and doing the wrong things. Well, not the wrong things, but having too much fun and not enough work. Yeah. And so that went for my first 2 years. And I was getting, in Australia, we have high distinction, we have distinction, credit, and pass. So we've just got 4 levels. Yeah, 4 levels there. And I wasn't getting high distinctions, but I wasn't getting passes. I was kind of just cruising along in the middle, getting distinctions and credits. By the time I got up into 3rd year, and I was the class clown. Can you believe that? I was the class clown. I was the one that used to make people laugh, and I used to entertain people and try and lift them up when they're having a bad day, those kinds of things. And sometimes we can get into that habit of just, being the status quo. But in 3rd year, I decided to make the shift. I wanted to be the best student out of my cohort of students. So I think there was about 50 of us in our class. By the time we got up to 3rd year, I think there could have been about 40 of us. But out of that, I wanted to be the best of them, yeah? And I knew I could be the best, but I wasn't putting in the effort to get me the best in the class. By the time I got to 3rd year, I realized there's not a lot of jobs in aerospace at Sydney in Australia, yeah? So if I wanted to have the best opportunities, I needed to be the best, right? I needed to compete with others. Now, if you have a look at yourselves right here, there's 320 something engineers, young engineers enrolled in this course. If all of you successfully pass everything and get to graduation, there'll be 320 young engineers looking for a job. Now, it's very good that you guys have an accredited degree because you can travel with that degree. Yeah, that's a good thing. You can move to another country, Australia, New Zealand, America, they'll recognize your degree, the UK, they'll recognize your degree and you could get a job. You can move and go and do that. If you don't want to, you can try and stay in Fiji, but then you're competing with 320 other young engineers, okay? Now, what does that mean? Well, not all of you are going to have the same piece of paper, but not all of you are going to have the same grades. Not all of you are going to have the same quality of degree. I prefer to take a person with A pluses than I would take a person with C's, yeah? That's just a fact. If I'm going to choose between 10 graduates that all have the same piece of paper, I'm going to look a little deeper and I'm going to look for the student that has the A pluses and the A's. Yeah, it's an easy discriminator than having to interview them and trying to find out the quality of their character. Because at the end of the day, I'm interested in whether that person can analyze a structure not whether they're a good guy or not. Yeah. So my advice to you, and I've said this before, is that you guys are gonna have to change the way you behave. You're gonna have to change the way you structure your days, the way you schedule it. Right now, the thing I'm even more concerned about is a lot of you are unhinged right now. You've got no anchor, because you no longer have the regularity of coming into university and sitting in a class. You've got freedom. Oh, I can just not attend, or I can attend. Hey, I can just download the online print pack, or I can just visit the Moodle shell, and I don't need to, I don't need to put too much effort in. I don't need to turn up to the optional classes, tutorials, and stuff like that. I want to give you some advice. In the 4 years, even when I was mucking around at Sydney University, in the 4 years, I didn't miss one class. I didn't miss one lecture. I didn't miss one tutorial. I didn't miss one lab. And some of you go, how did you not do that? It was funny because I was a very disciplined person. And even though I was mucking around, I said, I made a commitment at the start of my degree. And some of this might have been out of fear that my mother would have slapped my head if I missed classes and stuff like that. But I made that commitment right at the start that I would turn up. And there's a big lesson that you guys can learn from turning up. And it's a life lesson. I really believe 95% of life is just turning up, being present. Yeah. And I really thank and I really appreciate the 217 of you that are still on this call, that you turn up. Now, some of you are probably listening, oh, this is not for me. And you guys might be playing video games while you're listening to this lecture, or you might be doing the crossword puzzle, or you could be doing your nails or something else like that. And this is not really sinking in. But I believe, yeah, some of them could be asleep, Rohan. And again, this is on you. It's not on me. Whether you're happy with your life after 4 years of engineering and you feel that you've done your best effort, that's not going to be on me. That's going to be on you. That's going to be something that you'll carry around with you. And when your kids are asking you about how your university was, you can either tell them it was the best experience of your life, or you could tell them that I wasted 4 years of my life and I didn't enjoy it and I didn't have a good time and I didn't learn anything. And you can feel really, I guess, feeling regret over the time that you put in. My thoughts towards you is that I don't want you to have any regret moving forward with your engineering career. I believe all of you have made a decision to be here, that you guys wanted to become a civil engineer or a mechanical engineer, right? That this is something that you guys have purposely done. Yeah, some of you may feel like you're forced into it, but I really want you to take ownership over your decisions. Yeah, taking ownership over where you want to go with your life, with your career. I really feel that some of you are not quite there yet. You're like, oh, this is first year, and I don't. But I'll tell you now, 4 years goes by so quickly. It really does. And I'm talking to third year and fourth year students. And I know they wish they had learned some of these things that I'm talking to you about right now. They wish they had learned it a bit earlier. I think they could have done a bit better, right? I think a lot of your parents don't necessarily know the struggles that you guys are going through. I bet you at some stage, your parents could not help with the mathematics that you were learning or the physics that you were learning, right? Mevish Sharma, can you turn off your microphone? Whoever's got their microphone on, just turn it off. So I realized when I got up into year 11, which was your form 5, form 6, yeah. When you get up into that levels, your parents can no longer help you with your mathematics, right? And you know what? A lot of them, I remember my parents said, oh, no, you'll find it easy, you'll do it. But meanwhile, they don't realize we're struggling as well, yeah? So a lot of you might feel pressure from your parents, from your family, that they don't, and that you feel that they don't understand the struggles that you're going through in this course or in engineering, right? Can I tell you this? It's not easy. Engineering is not easy. And you guys are on the first step of a very long ladder. It only gets, can I tell you, it only gets harder from here. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. That's not what I'm trying to scare you for. Can you please mute your microphones? Thank you. I'm not trying to scare you, and I'll answer some of these questions that you have over here, but can I tell you this? I'm not trying to scare you about it getting harder, but it does. It has to. Yeah, this is first year. There's 3 more years after this. It's not going to get easier. Okay. Now, that's not meant to scare you. Can I give you an analogy? You're standing at base camp of Mount Everest. You can see the summit up ahead of you, right? Do you think it's going to get easier or harder as you get towards the summit? You think it's going to get easier or harder? The higher you go up, it's going to get harder. Yeah, it's harder. You're going to run out of oxygen. You're going to be oxygen deprived. You might get cramps, and you're going to have food issues, and the weight, because you got less oxygen, your muscles have to work with less. So it's going to get harder. But you know what? When you're standing at base camp, you know what you're going to expect up there. So you prepare at base camp for the struggle that you have ahead. I'm not lying to you. I'm not going to try and make things roses for you just to make yourself feel better. I'm telling you it's going to get harder. So this is where you prepare. This is where you learn to carry more oxygen, where you need to strengthen your muscles. And what I mean is more about this. You need to start working on your mind attitude, right? You know it's going to get harder. So now it's time to harden up. It's time to start thinking a bit differently to how you've been thinking. Because otherwise you will get into trouble later on. Yeah. So understand this, it's going to get harder. You need to turn up. You need to show up. That's the minimum that I'm expecting for you. You might be just a scream. You may not say anything, right? But you need to show up, guys. The other thing I want to advise you is build relationships. Okay, relationships with friends. It's very good, especially the ones that here, professional guys that you can rely on. If you've got a friend right now that's studying engineering with you, and you know they're not good for you from a professional sense, don't associate with them professionally. Hang out with them on the side after you've done your work. Go and hang out with them. I don't mind that. That's okay. But when it's time to work, you need to work. Does that make sense? Okay, because you don't want to be associated with people professionally that are going to drag you down. Okay, I tell you, it's like having them on your back when you're trying to climb up Mount Everest, right? It's like you're trying to do your work, and they're like, "Oh, come on, let's go play some, Call of Duty, or let's go and watch a movie. Let's go and watch Netflix." And you're like, "Oh man, and you cave in because you're good friends, right? I mean, because you guys have been together forever. Okay, my advice to you is, you're going to be competing against them one day. Yeah. You're going to have to let go of some things if you want to be a good engineer. If you've decided that you want to, PUBG, exactly. You're going to have to let go of some things if you want to be successful. I'm not saying, you cut friend with them and they're no longer your friends. But what I'm saying is, you guys are on your first journey to really establishing yourself as young adults. You guys are going to have jobs at the end of this. You're going to have, based on how well you earn or how much money you earn and whether you're in a good place, you're going to pick your husband and your wife, and you're going to provide for them, and you're going to have kids one day. This is the start of that. You're no longer mucking around. You guys are not little kids anymore. Okay, at the end of these 4 years, you're going to try and get a job with that degree, right? Now, that friend of yours, they're either going to help you with that, and they're going to understand that they're going to help you with that, or they're going to be an obstacle. They're going to be a stumbling block for you. They're going to trip you up on this journey. Now, if you can understand that this is the first step towards you having an independent life, I think you want to get it straight in your head who you want to carry on with this journey with, right? Okay, so please make those decisions. This is a good time for you to do that. Yeah, I'll answer some of these questions up here. So what's the average GPA required in order to enter the engineering industry? For me, I think you'd be wanting to get a 3.0 and above. Okay, on your GPA. For me, I'd be looking for a B+, A average. Yeah, I'd be up around that area. That's what I'd be looking. Is that Tukai? You see me that? Like, that's where I'd be shooting for. Remember, guys, if you aim for C's, you're going to get C's. If you aim for A+, you're probably going to land close to A+, which is a lot better than aiming for a C. So if you aim for nothing, you'll hit it every time. Yeah. So my aim for you is you aim high. Don't think, oh, I'm a C person, I'm an average student. Don't let the mark that you got into engineering with determine who you're going to be through this entire program. If you came in with 200 on your Form 7 results and stuff like that, you don't have to be a 200 student your entire life. Can I tell you that? You don't have to be that. You can be better than that, but you have to choose to be better. When I mean choose, you have to choose to turn up. You have to choose to do things differently. You need to choose excellence every day. You can't go and choose mediocrity. If you want to be 200, it's easy to do 200. You've been doing it all your life. Okay, now it's time to choose 300. It's time to choose 350. Can you do that? I'm challenging you to do something different, right? So does lab cross credit have a cutoff mark requirement? I don't think it does, but it could be 80%. I'm not sure whether it's 80%. My challenge to you is if you didn't do well in your lab cross credit, I would do it again. Okay, there's probably, when people ask for cross credits, it's a loaded question. It could end up bad for you because there's a reason why. I'm assuming because of lab cross credits, maybe you're repeating this course. And again, I'm not judging. I failed chemistry in my first year of engineering. I failed chemistry. I bombed out. I never studied chemistry at high school. So I was kind of stressed out coming into it and I failed it the first time around. So I'm not judging you, but what I'm saying is I went back and I did the whole chemistry course all over again. I did the labs, I did the whole thing because again, I had to shift my mindset. I needed to be better at everything. Yeah. So sometimes you might just have to do that lab all over again. The topics, Dwayne, the topics that I'm covering, and I'll bring up the course outline. I did want to get to that. We've only got 5 minutes left. But what I'll be starting tomorrow will be, can you guys see what I'm looking at? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I'm doing these topics here, okay? So tomorrow we're going to be doing units of conversions. To be honest, this is the simple stuff, okay? The other two lecturers really take you through any sort of difficult stuff. So for me, I really feel my purpose in this course is really to set you guys up for a win. Maybe just inspire you a little bit, encourage you. Because to be honest, topics 1, 2, and 3, they're pretty okay. Yeah, they're not such difficult ones, but I feel that what I'll do is, especially here, methods of problem solution, I will really be able to emphasize the things that are really important that you're going to carry through with you to 3rd and 4th year. Because I think a lot of you will end up forgetting a lot of this stuff and you don't think it's important. But I want some of these things to become ingrained in your psyche as young engineers, that you never forget this kind of stuff, okay? So tomorrow we're going to start here we're going to continue with our introduction, and I might switch into some of this later on, and then we're going to do examples. I'll try and do examples as much as I can at the end of a lecture, and we'll go through with that, okay? Now, straight away, when I have a look at this, I always think method of problem solution is very important out of here. The other one that I'll stress, I can't stress enough, is free body diagrams. Yeah, free body diagrams. This stuff is just so important that right there, I'm going to draw something. Oh, that's terrible. That is so bad. I'm learning to use this stylus here. Free body diagrams and method of problem solution are such important things that I'll tell you this right now. When I was at Boeing, the first thing that we would do when we're presenting our work is we'll have to present a free body diagram. I'm telling you now, like, you know, I've been 20 years as an engineer, and it's really quite not funny, but you end up going into a big meeting with the chief engineers at Boeing, and the first thing they want to know is, do you understand the structure? Do you understand the load parts? Do you understand what loads are on it and what the reaction forces look like? Free body diagrams, guys. That's one thing that I'm gonna make sure, because when you come up to me in third year, a lot of you have no clue about a free body diagram. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so those are the three major topics that I'll be covering in here. I guess the other ones that I'd look in here, yeah, internal, external forces, moment about a point, that's important. Equivalent force systems, that's important as well. But really, if I were to highlight anything here, it's this guy. Free body diagrams. Okay. So, hey, my apologies if you think this has been boring today, but I think this is a really essential thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys. My expectations for you as young Fijian engineers is excellence. Okay. I really want you to be excellent at what you do. When you submit your work with your name on it, with your student ID that identifies it, I want to see those names, some good names, coming through to me at 300 and 400 level. I don't want to be producing mediocre engineers in Fiji. I want to be producing excellent engineers that can make a difference in our society, that can make our society better, that can make Fiji better and can contribute to the world. Okay, sir, is the free body diagrams are forces and mechanics acting on objects in motion or in static? Typically, Mark, we're talking about statics here. Okay, we're not discussing anything dynamic. In actual fact, most, even in aerospace where our object is actually flying, we would effectively call them pseudo-static structures. Yeah, so effectively they're static. Yeah, no worries, guys. I don't have, yeah, so we're at the end of the lecture. It's 8:50. I really apologize, actually. We can't record this kind of stuff. I don't have any power to record this, which is I'm not happy with that. I actually have my own personal Zoom account, which is a professional account that I can record. So if this person does not turn up tomorrow to help with recording, I might have to just jump onto another one, onto my Zoom account. Now, I'm available here if you want to ask any questions. Stick your hand up, and I can stick around for as long as you need me to answer any questions. I'm available right here. Emma, what's your question, mate? Or ma'am, I have no idea whether you're male or female. Jason, screen record doesn't work. It says I need to have permission to record because I'm not the host. The host is the IT person. That's why I'm saying I was hoping the IT person would turn up to the call. But I have, the external source, come on, man. I need to then get everyone off this and then do it again. Yeah, Emma, ask your question. Emma, you need to, wait, are you answering? Sir, do we need AutoCAD? No, you don't need AutoCAD for this course. Are you asking another one? No, you don't, yeah. MR, you don't need AutoCAD. This just requires BrainCAD. Nicole?
So if the school doesn't provide the Zoom link, you'll be providing it on our forum for us to go to, link to, if they don't start the recording tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just a bit concerned because I'm just not sure how to do that. I'd have to put it on Moodle and then people would have to know that straight away. I feel that I'm going to have to sort that out today. And if the person doesn't turn, so the good thing about the ITS person from